And welcome back. This is your man Warrior, and this is another patron roster review. This is for Logan Ninefingers. Logan Ninefingers, what's happening? Now, he's also in the team of Lebowski. So what's happening, Lebowski? Now, I asked him what he wanted me to review, and specifically, he wanted me to review the heroic Rancor on how to kind of solo it. He needs to help his team. By the way, he really wants more people to join the Guild of Lebowski. So big shout out to Lebowski. If anybody's looking to do heroic Rancor and hasn't done it yet and they want a team that they can grow and develop in, this is definitely an awesome team for you. Now, he also wanted to know about his team as far as his arena squad goes, and then kind of what's the next Zeta, what should be the first Zeta that he does or the next Zeta. I believe he's already got Darth Vader Zeta. We're going to take a look at that here in a second. Now, he is in his arena rank, almost in the top 100, which is not bad. He really doesn't spend any money, and so the grind takes forever when you're not spending money, and we get that. So to be, almost in the top 100 is, basically almost free to play. I think he's done the Crystal subscription, but that's nothing. That's like $10 a month. So anyway, let's go ahead and get right into it. First thing is his arena. He's got, Lando in there, which when you're talking free to play and you're talking not top 50 or top 20, Lando's actually still very popular. And then of course you've got Wigs, which is the Biggs and Wedge combo. And then of course you've also got Stormtrooper Han. Now you've got Leia in there. She works well with Rebels, obviously, but for the inventory you have, I actually would highly recommend using your Emperor Palpatine in the slot of Leia. I would really do that, so that way you get that anti-rebel meta with Emperor Palpatine, the shock and all that. You're going to start seeing more turret and bases. You're going to need Emperor Palpatine to get through that. Stormtrooper Han is actually back on the rise because he works really well against the turret and base combos. They counter a lot. If he's got his taunt up, it's just 20% turn meter every time they counter, which makes your team go real fast. So he was meta for a while, he went away for a while, and now he's back as far as meta goes. I think you're going to see a lot more people using him. Now, because you're free to play, relatively free to play, and you don't have a whole lot of phenomenal mods, I would highly recommend moving Lando into the leadership role so you can get that extra speed for your Stormtrooper Han, your Biggs and your Wedge. So definitely want to recommend Lando to lead, and then Leia replace her with Emperor Palpatine. I think that would carve you up into the top 50, top 80 pretty easily. So there's that. And then we're going to go, another optional team is going to be, and let's go ahead and go into your inventory. I know you said you had Darth Vader, and I believe you said you had him Zeta'd. So let's take a look at your Darth Vader. Yes, you do. So another team you could start to develop for Arena that would be very fun is going to be your Darth Vader to the top left, of course. Darth Vader is your lead, and this lead is going to allow for you to apply negative status effects, dots, damage over time, speed down, things like that. And the damage over time is going to stay there. And you know this already. That's why people use this Darth Vader for the Rancor. And then, of course, you can put Emperor Palpatine. He's in your top 5. He would be excellent, again, underneath Darth Vader. And then you have the TIE Fighter pilot. And your TIE Fighter pilot is down here, kind of in the middle, a little higher than middle. And so I would recommend, you continue to develop your TIE Fighter pilot. You've got decent mods on him. You've got him pretty leveled out as far as attacks and abilities, but keep gearing him. It's really important you keep gearing him because you could use him in this Darth Vader team for tenacity down. He's super quick, and he's going to be able to apply ability block on his basic to the target. Plus, he's going to be able to put buff immunity on people's heads, which is excellent. And then you could put, for the other two in this Darth Vader lead, definitely I would suggest a Boba Fett. There you go. Okay, so your Boba Fett's down here. I would recommend Boba Fett as your 4th, and especially because he's going to be able to, apply those damage over times on his basic, and he's also going to be able to do execute, and that's an excellent option when you're doing a Darth Vader lead, having Boba Fett for sure. So Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine, TIE Fighter pilot, Boba Fett, and then the last slot to probably protect all of them is I would use Shore Trooper All right, and so here's your Shore Trooper, but you have him, and you have him at 4 stars. Shore Trooper is uber viable at 4 stars as a tank. All you have to do is level up his attacks, his abilities, and then gear him. Get him to at least gear 9 before you start throwing him in, but preferably if you can get him up to gear 10. I know with free-to-play it's really hard to get up. By the way, I know you love your guild and you're trying to get more people in the guild for the Heroic Rancor, but if you find for some reason this guild isn't getting you the rewards, the guild rewards that you're looking for, don't be afraid to walk to another guild. It's just a game and you're looking at benefiting yourself, and a guild makes a massive impact on your game. So that would be another arena team I would suggest. Like I said, Darth Vader lead, Emperor Palpatine, TIE Fighter pilot Shore, and then Boba Fett. Now you could sub in B2 if you had issues getting through a particular team, and you do have your B2 battle droid at gear 8 7 star, level 85, which is excellent, especially where you're at. So continue to try to develop your B2. That's another one of those continuing to develop characters I would continue to farm or not farm, but gear the B2 battle droid for yourself. Now you asked about, so those are arena, and then as far as, you know, the Darth Vader team, it's gonna be, you know, modded for critical chance and potency, because you got a lot of people doing damage, and they're also applying negative status effects. So critical chance, potency, but you're also going to want some speed. The goal really is to get 175 speed or higher on all those characters, with the exception of Shore Trooper. He's slow and you can keep him slow. Tanks don't have to be as fast. You'll want your tank more tenacious, so tenacity mods, things like that will probably work better, and you could use health or defense mods on your tanks. So let's go ahead and go back to the Rancor. So for the Rancor, you wanted to know what team could help you get through it from start to finish. And truly right now, 4 of the characters I would recommend are Empire. For what you have, I would recommend Darth Vader. I would also recommend Emperor Palpatine, Royal Guard, the TIE Fighter pilot, and then Darth Sidious, which you have Darth Sidious 7 star. Now, what's important is 7 stars. To do a heroic Rancor, they have to be 7 stars. But the reason for Darth Sidious is he has an AoE. He has that expose that you can Omega and get there, which will help you do more damage. And he puts damage over time. Your TIE Fighter pilot, of course, is going to apply the tenacity down, so it's going to help you with your modding. You obviously want potency high, but this is going to help if you can't get your potency up to 85%. If you can get it to even 60%, this will help you be able to be just as effective at 60% potency on your characters as you would be at 85% if you include him. So that's excellent. And then Royal Guard is going to reduce turn meter, of course, like all the other Empire and Sith, but he also will put speed down. So that's really important. Speed down will slow the Rancor down, which will allow you to not have to have 200 plus speed tunes. If you can get your fast tunes to about 175, that's where you want them to be. Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine, and the TIE Fighter pilot and Sidious. The good news is TIE Fighter pilot, Emperor Palpatine, and Sidious are already naturally fast, so they're not going to take a whole lot of speed to get to the 175, but you're going to have Royal Guard in that lineup. As far as Emperor Palpatine, he's just another high-level 7-star character, so that's why I'm recommending him for the Rancor. And then Darth Vader. Now, it's really important that if you're going to solo this, that you actually manually battle, because your characters aren't super high. You're going to have to get out of first phase. First phase is the hardest with the piggies and whatnot. So you have a couple of AoEs with TIE Fighter pilot, Darth Vader, and Emperor Palpatine, but you want to take the piggies out left and right, and then you want to start turn meter reducing the main pig. And so all these characters that I've suggested are going to potentially, 50% of the time remove 20% turn meter, and that should help you. And then keeping in mind that, of course, you have the Royal Guard to kind of taunt if someone starts to get, smacked around a little bit. The only thing this team doesn't have, which you may want, is a cleanser. And if you were going to bring a cleanser in, I would replace Emperor Palpatine with a cleanser. Someone maybe like your Admiral Akbar, someone like that. That way you could have a heal on cleanse. So your Admiral Akbar could be a potential replacement for Emperor Palpatine. That way you get a cleanse and a heal on the cleanse. I know he doesn't, take away turn meter, but he's definitely somebody that could help you. The other thing is you could use Rex. Now, your Rex is only 5-star, and he's not going to heal, but he can cleanse and put tenacity up on your guys. Plus, Rex takes away turn meter on his basic, 25%. So he is a turn meter eliminator, plus he can cleanse you in phase 1, which you may want. So you may find that you want to put in Rex, but you got to get him to 7 stars for him to be Rancor. And then remember, you want to get your guys at about 175 speed, except for your tank, and critical chance needs to be over 40%, if, best case scenario, and potency over 60%. And then, of course, you're, add that secondary speed when you can. As far as farming goes, characters you should be farming, definitely the ones I've already mentioned, continue to develop them in your lineup to make sure that you are benefiting from those characters in Arena and in Rancor. So if they're at Gear 9, keep going with them. Try and get them to Gear 10. Keep going. And then, of course, on the side, some characters that I see on the side that you should be farming is I see in your Rebels, you have the Cassian, K2SO, Jyn Erso, and you're starting to work on Chirrut, and you haven't gotten Baze yet, but the R1, the Rogue One characters are definitely very fun. They're going to help you in Galactic War. They can help you in light side battles, and they are arena viable. I don't care what anyone says. They're exceptionally arena viable. As free-to-play, the Sith are a little easier to get faster than the Rogue One, so mods and speed may become an issue a little bit with Rogue One, but they're still an excellent team to develop, and eventually at some point you may have the mods you need to make them arena viable, but you definitely want to make them fast so that way you can get going first. The other thing is you can do Rogue One, and if you unlock Han Solo, which you have not unlocked Han Solo yet, when you do the Heroic Rancor, you'll get the Han Solo. He is a great character to place into your team to go against the Sith, so that way you can get that first shot on their Sith assassin, which will prevent them from getting a lot of that extra turn meter that she provides. So there's that idea as well. But Rogue One, looks like you're farming them up. I'd continue to do that. You also mentioned you were doing General Grievous. So you're doing General Grievous, and this is just for fun. You're just having fun with it, or you're at least hoping that at some point General Grievous gets a rework, and so you've got him kind of, you're working through and maxing him out, and I don't fault you at all for that. I'm sure at some point there will be a droid rework, and he'll be included in that rework if that happens, and so that when that time comes, you're going to have him ready and available. And sometimes you just want to farm who you want to farm. You're a fan of General Grievous, and so I don't fault you for that at all. As far as other characters, I do suggest that you get Rex up to 7 stars and continue to gear him. Definitely put him in your favorites section, so that way you're focused on him specifically. There are also 2 others that are Jedi I think you should focus on. And those 2, it looks like you are developing, which is Jedi Knight Anakin. He's great in any meta. He'll be excellent. He can be a standalone. He doesn't have to be placed onto a Jedi team specifically, and so that's what makes him so valuable. He's one of the few Jedi you can pull out of a Jedi team, stick on any team, and he works excellent. He's definitely one of the top attackers in the game. Kind of like the Royal Guard, but offensively. And then also Aayla Secura, it looks like you're gearing and modding her up, so that is, or gearing and leveling her up, so that is good. She's currently at 4 stars. I would continue. She's definitely as well a standalone character you can place into any team. She's going to help stun. Now, the secret for her is going to be critical chance. The higher her critical chance, the higher her stun rate. So you definitely want to make sure, or her chance to stun, you definitely want to make sure she's critical chance up. The last one I see that you don't really have developed, that you should have developed, which is not in here, is Sunfac. Now, you can start to farm Sunfac as a free-to-play, and so I would highly recommend you get him. Now, a lot of people are saying Sunfac is a thing of the past. Good characters really good characters will come and go, and they'll always be viable in some sort of a team. Sunfac is one of those anti-meta characters. You can place him as a tank pretty much on any team, and he does phenomenally well. He's going to put critical chance down, offense down, turn meter reduction on his special. You know, he counters. He's very, very, very tanky. And, you know, a taunting tank is always something that people need to place in. And wanting to be in the top 100, he's definitely viable in the top 100 all day, every day. He's one of those characters that's been around for a long time and has never lost his usefulness. I know there are some people that have chosen other tanks at this point in the game, but it would behoove you to definitely get Sunfac leveled up for sure. Now let's go ahead and move into ships. For ships, you're doing very well. You've got Admiral Akbar. You're in the top 300 basically in ships. So you're looking like you've really focused on ships. I'm proud of you for having focused on ships. That's important. As far as your initial lineup, you know, you have Biggs and Wedge in that initial lineup. That's good. The Imperial TIE Fighter, that's good. Jedi Consular, that's good. I would take Geonosian Soldier out of your initial lineup. He's extremely slow, one of the 3 slowest ships out there. I know he calls an assist, but I would replace him with your Slave 1, so that way you have another ship that does, you know, AoE damage plus target lock, things like that. I feel like that would benefit you better as far as your initial lineup. And then in your backup, I would recommend the Scimitar and the First Order TIE Fighter. And so your First Order TIE Fighter is up there on the top right. I would have him as your secondary backup, and then the Scimitar as your first backup. So that way, as soon as one of your characters dies, one of your ships dies, the first thing in is your Scimitar. He'll come in and he'll guaranteed be able to use his ability to, you know, stealth and apply that retribution on the one that's not stealth. And then your First Order TIE Fighter to come in at the end to be able to do, you know, target lock and big hits for target locked players. If the Scimitar has been sitting out, all of the backup that's come in will have been target locked for a couple of turns. And so the First Order TIE Fighter, when he comes in, more than likely will have 1 or 2 or more target locked opponents that he gets to choose from. And that will reset his Strafe, which is his special ability. So that's pretty awesome because Strafe does a lot of damage, anywhere from 50 to 100,000 damage on Strafe, and as long as they're target locked, this is going to refresh, which means he can use it every single turn, provided that he's hitting target locked opponents. So that's pretty cool, and those are the ones I would put on. As far as in your ships, you know, keep developing the ships you have, of course. Keep farming Scimitar and, you know, your Darth Maul, keep gearing up. Same thing with your First Order and your Imperial TIE Fighters. Keep leveling them up, keep gearing up your characters. Boba Fett, keep gearing. These are all characters you should have in your favorites to make sure that you're making your ships as strong as possible. Gear is really important in making your ships strong. You have Kylo Ren's ship that is viable. You could use that as an alternative in your initial lineup instead of, you know, Slave 1. You could put it in. It's going to give you a little more durability than Slave 1. And then, and a little more utility. Kylo Ren's ship speeds it up. The ships that I see that you said you wanted to kind of focus on was the Umbaran Starfighter, and you know, you can focus on the Umbaran if you want. I think that I would recommend really more focusing on kind of getting Kylo Ren's ship up over the Umbaran. I think it has as much or more utility as the Umbaran. The other thing is Sunfac's ship. I don't see Sunfac's ship in here at all, and that's really one of the main ships I would highly recommend for you. I know you don't have Sunfac, so this is an evolution. You're going to have to start to farm Sunfac and farm his ship and get them up, but Sunfac has the second, one of the 2 best tanks in ships. You know, it's him and Biggs. Those are the 2 absolute best, hands down, tanks, and you definitely want at least those 2 tanks in your initial or backup lineup. And so since you don't have Sunfac and you don't have his ship, I would say Sunfac should really be, him and his ship should really be your pet project for the month of April for sure, and the month of May, and then just continue to work the other existing characters. So it looks really, really good. You're focused on ships like you should be, because they're going to make you more successful in the regular arena. Your lineup looks excellent. Again, definitely, you know, get your Rancor team built up the way I've suggested with Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine, Royal Guard, the TIE Fighter pilot, and then like Darth Sidious. The only other character that I don't really see leveled up or modded or anything that I would highly recommend for you is Darth Nihilus. He is a brand new Sith, but he is viable at 3-star, and he's usable in any team. You can plug him into any team. He's got, you know, Dispel on basic. He can increase cooldowns on opponents, which is kind of like an ability block. He's got the guaranteed insta-kill with Annihilate. So he's definitely an individual that you can plug into any team. I know he's meta right now, but he will be one of those staple characters. There's always one character out of each set that kind of stand out as the best, and Darth Nihilus is definitely that for the Sith, especially for free-to-play. So even though you only have him at star level 3, he's somebody you definitely want to put into your favorites and start to level in gear. Now, I know I've given you a lot with your arena team, your possible Rancor team, your possible alternate arena team, and who to farm, and then you, of course, want to do Rogue One and General Grievous. So there's a lot on your plate, but pick those characters, put them in your favorites, and focus on those. Good luck for your team. I really hope you guys are able to do the heroic Rancor and eventually get the heroic AAT. That will be awesome. And if for some reason Team Lebowski can't cut it, I would say, Logan, you probably need to go ahead and cut and run if you can't get the recruiting the way that you're looking for, and go find a team that is going to get you the shards to the characters that you're hoping for. As always, keep your gaming on. Warrior out.